Romans chapter 1, starting at verse 28. And even as they did not like to retain God in their knowledge, God gave them over to a reprobate mind, to do those things which are not convenient, being filled with all unrighteousness, fornication, wickedness, covetousness, maliciousness, full of envy, murder, debate, deceit, malignity, whispers, backbiters, haters of God, despiteful, proud, boasters, inventors of evil things, disobedient to parents, without understanding, covenant breakers, without natural affections, implacable, unmerciful, who knowing the judgment of God, that they which commit such things are worthy of death, not only do the same, but have pleasure in them that do them. I knew a person once close to me, and one day he said, and I know exactly what he meant when he said this, but he said, I've done it all. And I know what that means from that person. I know what they meant. And you know, the scary thing in life is that when a person has no checks and balances inside of them, there's no check on their spirit when they are wicked. And as you've seen here, all of the things that I've named off here, this is the Bible. This is not me. This is God. This is his word. And the evidence of somebody who God has given up is when they do these things with no check in their spirit from God. And in fact, it says that they have pleasure in unrighteousness. So all the things that I've named off, anywhere from murder to envy, it says wickedness. Just imagine, not only do they do these things, but they have pleasure in them, and there is no check from God inside their spirit, because he's given them over to a reprobate mind. That means a rejected mind. It says that they did not retain God in their knowledge. You see. And that is the evidence somebody who is too far gone. They're too far gone. And, it bothers me because, when you see a saved person and they have done a lot of things in their life that are not godly, they don't usually boast about it. That they usually have a problem with it. And most of the time they don't even want to talk about it. And if they do talk about it, it's to educate other people on how it's not right and all these things. So looking at Romans chapter 1, it gives us a description of somebody who's too far gone. And those are the people in the Bible in Romans chapter 1 that says they have pleasure in what they're doing, in all wickedness and unrighteousness. And this is exactly what the Apostle Paul says. In the last days, perilous times shall come. Men shall be lovers of themselves, more than lovers of God, and pretty much all the same things. 2 Thessalonians chapter 2 talks about the ones who God gives up to a strong delusion and a lie are those who have pleasure in unrighteousness. Exactly what Romans chapter 1 says. These people have pleasure in unrighteousness. So not only do they do these things, but they have pleasure in these things. And I'm not here to judge anybody or whatever, because my videos are meant to just be the messenger, explain what the Bible is talking about. But God works on the heart, and grace empowers you inside to, it changes your mind. 2 Timothy chapter 2 verse 25 says that God gives you the repentance in the heart and the mind. You have an epiphany. If you're doing all these things, and maybe you hear this video, evidence that God saves you is you have an epiphany, like, I am on the wrong track. These things are not right. I need to change. That's what God gives you when you get saved. Repentance, true repentance in the mind. And the person who told me this, that they did everything, I hate to say it, but it doesn't sound like it bothered him very much. And that's kind of disturbing to me, because, well, if you never have that epiphany moment, if God never wakes you up out of the wickedness, then, you already know where I'm getting at, right? So, Romans chapter 1, along with 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, and I believe it's 1st or 2nd Timothy, talking about the perilous times, shows us that the estate of a person when God gives them up. You see, it's God that is teaching you on the inside and checking you. He checks you. He'll change you. He'll show you. He'll teach you. That's your walk with God. That's what that is. You're walking with God. These people here, there's no check inside them. There's no spirit inside them of God telling them not to do these things, making them feel bad for doing these things. In fact, it says they have pleasure in these things. And it's also like when a person is doing these things and living a certain way, and if they really believed that they're going to get punished by God for living this, doing these things, being this way, then they probably wouldn't be doing it. You see, so it shows their unbelief also. Because when you do believe in God, and truly believe in God, then you're going to fear God, and maybe not, if you don't fear Him, you're going to reverence Him. In other words, you're going to keep Him in mind. Clearly here in Romans chapter 1, it says they didn't retain God in their knowledge. And they were without understanding. So, that's evidence also. Is that, when you continue on willfully and have pleasure in these things, you don't really believe that God is going to punish you for these things. Because surely you wouldn't be doing these things. And you wouldn't have pleasure in these things. I'm not trying to judge anybody's life. I'm just saying clear, just common sense. If you knew and believed what God is going to do to you for having pleasure in all these things, you wouldn't really be doing them. So that shows that a person really doesn't believe. So